Today we are going to be talking about the places that watch dealers source their watches from. We're back. You are chatting with John P. Today we are going to be talking about the places that watch dealers source their watches from. At delraywatch.com, we get so many questions, comments, and other forms of communication on Instagram, email, phone calls, from just watch collectors or guys looking to break into watch dealing or a little bit of watch flipping. And a common question is, where do the watches come from? Even if you're a collector, you might just wonder, where are dealers sourcing their inventory? So I'm going to tell you, and some of these are exclusive and you're not going to hear them from anyone else. And if you are interested in becoming a watch dealer or learning about how to work in the watch industry and field, in the description below there's a link you can follow to sign up to be the first to know when I've released an apprentice program where you can learn about working in the watch industry as well as how you can make money trading watches for real. But first, please do not forget the thumbs up, like, and subscribe because I unleash all the information here so you will be the first to know about it. Okay, so let's jump right in. The first place that watch dealers get their inventory, their watches from, are trade shows. I did an Instagram video, Instagram The Real John P, where I talked about the importance of trade shows in literally any industry. It doesn't matter if it's technology, if you're a nurse, or if you're into fashion design. Going to trade shows is incredibly important because you meet people, you can trade ideas. Anything that has to do with working with other people in your industry can only help you in probably the short term, but certainly the long run. And going to a trade show, watch dealers can source inventory from other dealers. It's a place where all the inventory is in a big room and, oh, this is interesting. I think this would look great at Delray Watch. Oh, this is interesting. I think this would look great at wherever, Joma Shop, something along those lines. So trade shows, number one, dealer to dealer. And of course you need a license, but go to Instagram and I talk more about the trade shows. Next, watch dealers source watches from each other. When you go to these trade shows, you make connections with people, get their phone numbers, their contact information. Later, let's say some Audemars Piguet comes through the door at delraywatch.com and Federico and I say, hey, this watch isn't really for what we do here. Maybe someone else would do a little bit better with it. We'll call up Jim at xyzwatchdealer.com and we'll say, hey, this AP, which is what you stock, just came in. Do you want it? And so a little deal will happen there. And that's always a good thing. And so whether it's vintage or certain little specialties, all the dealers out there that you know and love, or maybe don't know and love, all have their little niches, and that's where a lot of watches are sourced, not from only us, but other dealers as well. Now, not only is this next one specific to the watch industry, but also the auto industry and a few other industries, medical industry, products, pharmaceuticals. There are platforms where deals can be made, only exclusive underground for dealers. And don't even ask the question, no, there's absolutely no way to get into these platforms. It took us a whole lot of time to actually get into these platforms. It's a vetting process. You have to know a lot of people have to back you up. You have to make a lot of deals, make a lot of proof, show licensing, show numbers to get in. But there's trading platforms out there where dealers can share stock. And so if someone calls us and says, hey, I want a Hulk, do you have one? And we don't have a Hulk, someone here can put out a call on there and find you that Hulk at a competitive price, right? So, and the same can be had other words. We get another watch in, we can post it there. Another dealer that has a call on it can find it for you. So if you like to work with a specific dealer, a specific guy, however large or small he may be, he can, if he has access, he can go on there and he can help you source watches that, maybe you just didn't see on a website somewhere. And we do this all the time for our customers, and it works out very well. Now, this one next is really a no-brainer, but it should be said, is through trading with the public. In watches today, watches are more of a hobby than they are utility. Sure, there's luxury goods, but definitely with Delray Watch, we handle a lot of hardcore collectors and collector savants, that enthusiast market more than the casual luxury goods buyer. And when we're talking about trading, maybe the collectors doesn't want that watch anymore. They want to move on to something different. They bought the Tudor Black Bay. They thought maybe the Omega Seamaster was a little bit better for them. They bought the Black Bay 58, a little too small for them. They want to get into a Seamaster larger size. That's where a lot of watches do come from. They come from the trades and they come from the buys. And there's some intricacies when it comes down to this, right? It's always, if you have a hot watch, you're always going to get a little bit more if you do sell it yourself. You have the connections, you want to take all the high-res photos, post them online, this and that. It's always possible to get a little bit more if you have a watch that people want. But a lot of people just don't want to do that. They want to trade into something they like, and this should be of really no startling fact to anybody. I mean, other businesses have done this for a long time. It's very similar in other industries. So sourcing from the public is obviously a pretty large place to obtain watches. And lastly, this one should be pretty eye-opening for a lot of people when watch brands, dealers source watches from the brands and not as authorized dealers. So when watch dealers are kind of out there and they're known to purchase a large amount of watches and they're fully capitalized and brands know this, they'll be approached by brands and the brands will say, hey, XYZ jeweler, we see that you like watches, blah, 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 blah. And what really happens is they sell them the dead inventory that the brands can't move. So the authorized dealers were not willing to purchase it, or they just produce too many watches. And so when you go online and you see new watches at thisshop.com, what that really means is that they bought the watches from someone, or they bought the watches directly from the brands out the back door, totally legitimate, but it's not going to come with the authorized warranty card because they're throwing that away as part of the deal, and that's why you see such large discounts on perhaps a brand new Omega watch from a place like Joma Shop. Not calling them out because I'm not advertising them in any way, but when you see watches at that such discount, it's because they're buying them at scale, at large, from brands such as Omega, such as Graham, such as some of the others that dump inventory out the back door because they produce too many and they want to actually be able to sell watches in the future using that capital to produce more watches. So that's where those watches come from. And guys, this list is really the major ways that watch dealers source watches. There's a couple other ways, a couple more smaller ways, a couple more tricky, intricate, nifty ways. Link in the description below. If you're interested in this, I'm building this plan. A lot of it's done already. A couple of interesting little interviews and videos left to splice in and then make this available to you in the coming months. But really, I think a lot of this is common knowledge, but at the same time, we get a lot of questions at Delray Watch. People just asking, where do these watches come from? Are they authentic? And yes, fully authentic. Most dealers out there sell authentic watches and you have nothing to worry about because these are the sources that they obtain them from, including us. Thanks for watching, guys. You have been chatting with John P. Ciao.